Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket change or tucked away in an old jar in your home. Today we're going to talk about one of the most astonishing stories in numismatics. The 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has reached an extraordinary value of $300,000 because of the unique errors and mistakes that make it so incredibly rare and desirable among collectors. And while most people look at a penny and see just a small copper-coated coin that doesn't seem like it could be worth anything more than its face value, the truth is that in the coin collecting world, errors, oddities, and rare misstrikes can catapult an otherwise ordinary piece of money into something that is treated like a priceless artifact. And the 1980 penny has exactly that kind of story behind it. So let's explore the details, the possible mistakes, and the various features that have made this coin stand out to the point where collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to own it, starting with the fact that the 1980 penny comes from the Denver Mint, easily recognized by the D Mint mark below the date. And while the majority of these pennies are extremely common, with billions struck and circulated throughout the United States, there are a few extraordinary examples that slipped past the quality control systems of the Mint and were released into circulation carrying dramatic errors that have fascinated experts for decades. One of the primary categories of errors that could make a 1980 penny so valuable is a double die error, which occurs when the coin is struck with a die that was improperly manufactured and caused the details of the coin to appear doubled. In some cases, this doubling is minor and barely visible without magnification. But in the rarest and most spectacular cases, it can be seen clearly with the naked eye, especially in the date, the word Liberty, or the phrase, "In God we trust." And when collectors find such strong doubling, they recognize it as an extraordinary mistake that elevates the coin into the realm of legendary value. Another possibility for the $300,000 valuation comes from off-center strikes, which happen when a coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies during striking, leading to coins that may show only part of the design while leaving a blank crescent-shaped area of exposed metal. And depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, such coins can be worth far more than face value, especially when the date and mint mark remain visible, because that combination proves the identity of the coin and makes it collectible. The more off-center, the more strikingly different it looks from a normal penny, and collectors often prize coins with 50% or more of the design missing because they're so unusual. Now, beyond doubling and off-center errors, we also have to consider planchet errors, which are mistakes involving the blank piece of metal before it is struck. In 1980, the United States Mint was producing cents with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but sometimes planchets from other denominations or even foreign coinage accidentally got mixed into the production process, leading to coins being struck on the wrong metal. Imagine a 1980 penny struck on a dime planchet, which is smaller and made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. The result would be a coin that looks very different in size, weight, and color from a normal penny, instantly making it a rarity. Other planchet-related mistakes include clipped planchets, where a portion of the blank is missing before it is struck, resulting in a coin with a curved or straight piece cut out of it. These two are very collectible, and when combined with clear mint marks and dates can fetch huge sums. Then there's the category of broad strike errors, when the collar die that holds the coin in place during striking fails, allowing the metal to spread outward and create an oversized coin with distorted details, which again are very popular among specialists. And when you realize that such spectacular mint mistakes are essentially one-of-a-kind occurrences, you start to understand why someone might pay a fortune to own one. In addition to these striking errors, there are also rarities involving repunched mint marks, because back in 1980 the Denver Mint mark was still applied to the die by hand, meaning that in some cases the mint mark could have been stamped more than once at slightly different angles, leading to what collectors call RPMs or repunched mint marks, and certain examples where the D mint mark shows clear doubling, tripling, or shadow-like impressions are highly sought after, and these coins can easily climb into the thousands, but in the rarest and most dramatic cases, combined with other errors, the value soars into hundreds of thousands. What's especially interesting about error coins like the 1980 penny is that they represent not only mistakes but also snapshots of the minting process. giving collectors insight into the history and mechanics of coin production. And beyond the technical appeal, there's also the emotional thrill of knowing that a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars could be hiding in plain sight, perhaps in your pocket, your change drawer, or your piggy bank, which is why so many people are fascinated by coin hunting and the stories of ordinary individuals discovering life-changing treasures in their everyday transactions. Consider also the role of condition, because while errors add incredible value, the grade of the coin, meaning its level of preservation, plays a critical role too. A 1980 penny with a rare error but heavily worn from circulation might fetch a few $1,000s. But the same error in pristine mint state condition, with brilliant red luster and minimal marks, could easily command $300,000 or more at auction. Collectors crave perfection, and the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance is what drives these eye-popping prices. So the story of the 1980 penny worth $300,000 is not just about one type of error but about the convergence of multiple possibilities: dramatic doubling, off-center striking, wrong planchets, clipped blanks, broad strikes, repunched mint marks, and the finest possible preservation, each factor layering value upon value until the coin transforms from a humble 1-cent piece into a legendary artifact of American numismatic history. And when such a coin comes up for sale at a major auction, the bidding wars among wealthy collectors can push the price higher and higher, sometimes beyond what anyone imagined, because in the world of rare coins, passion often outweighs logic, and owning such a treasure is about more than money. It's about pride, history, and the joy of possessing something almost no one else has. So the next time you come across a 1980 penny, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Take a close look with a magnifying glass, check for doubling, inspect the mint mark, observe the centering of the design, weigh the coin to see if it matches the normal 3.11 grams, and if something feels off, you might just be holding a six-figure treasure in your hand. And that is why stories like this continue to inspire coin enthusiasts around the world, proving that treasure hunting isn't confined to gold mines or shipwrecks but can happen every day, right in the change you receive at the grocery store. And it's this blend of mystery, history, and possibility that keeps the world of numismatics alive with excitement, because every coin tells a story, and sometimes, as in the case of the 1980 penny worth $300,000, that story can change lives forever. Next, 1991 1-cent USA coin, another thrilling exploration of rare coins and hidden treasures in the world of numismatics. And today we continue our incredible journey into coins that appear ordinary to the untrained eye yet hide extraordinary value because of the mistakes and rare errors that slip through the U.S. Mint's strict production process. This time focusing on the 1991 Lincoln 1-cent coin, which has shocked collectors and enthusiasts alike by reaching an astonishing value of $200,000 when the right combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, and condition come together to create a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. And while billions of pennies were produced in 1991 at the Denver Mint bearing the familiar D mint mark below the date on the obverse side of the coin, only a minuscule handful exhibit the remarkable features that elevate their worth from a single cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's what makes this story so fascinating, because it reminds us that treasure can be hiding in plain sight, in the change you receive at a store or in the old jars of coins sitting forgotten in drawers or attics across the country. So let's dig deep into the possibilities, the types of errors, and the factors that make the 1991 penny such a high-value collectible, beginning with the fact that 1991 marked an important era in the production of U.S. 1-cent coins, because by that time the mint had fully transitioned from the traditional bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc used prior to 1982 to the new copper-plated zinc composition consisting of 97.5% zinc with a thin 2.5% copper plating. This change introduced new challenges into the minting process, and many error specialists argue that the softer zinc cores were more susceptible to certain kinds of striking problems, plating bubbles, die cracks, and other anomalies that make coins from this period particularly interesting for error hunters. One of the most significant errors that could make a 1991 penny worth $200,000 is a dramatic doubled die, especially when the doubling is strong and visible on key design elements such as the date, the D mint mark, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." In cases of extreme doubling, the letters and numbers may appear doubled, tripled, or distorted in ways visible even without magnification, and because doubling happens during the preparation of the dies themselves, all coins struck from that die will exhibit the same doubling, but only a few examples ever survive in high-grade condition, making them rare treasures. Imagine a 1991 D penny where the date shows two distinct impressions of the numerals 1991, with the 1s dramatically offset or the 9 appearing doubled. Such coins become instant legends. And when discovered in brilliant uncirculated condition, they can fetch astronomical sums. Another type of error that elevates value is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank or planchet is not properly seated in the press and receives a design that is shifted off to one side, leaving part of the design missing and a crescent of blank metal exposed. Collectors especially love off-center strikes where the date and mint mark remain fully visible because it proves the identity of the coin, and the further off-center the strike is, the more dramatic and desirable the error becomes, with 50% off-center strikes often fetching huge premiums. Now, let's consider broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking malfunctions, allowing the planchet to spread outward under the pressure of the dies, creating an oversized, distorted coin with a stretched-out rim and design. Such coins are instantly recognizable to collectors and always command significant attention. But when tied to a date like 1991 D and preserved in mint condition, they become even more valuable. Planchet errors also play a role in boosting the value of the 1991 D penny. For instance, a coin might have been struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime, or a foreign coin planchet that was mistakenly fed into the press. A 1991 D penny struck on a dime planchet would weigh less than the standard 2.5 grams for a post-1982 zinc penny, and its smaller size and silvery copper-nickel color would make it instantly identifiable as an extraordinary mint mistake. Other planchet anomalies include clipped planchets, where part of the blank is missing, creating a distinctive curved cutout section, or lamination errors, where part of the copper plating peels away from the zinc core, revealing silvery streaks or missing areas of the coin's surface, both of which are highly collectible. Another fascinating error involves repunched mint marks or RPMs, because in the earlier years mint marks were still being punched onto dies manually, which meant that sometimes a mint worker struck the D mint mark more than once at slightly different angles, producing a clear shadow or doubling effect. Collectors actively hunt for repunched mint marks, and certain examples on 1991 D pennies have been noted, with the extra impressions of the D making them far more valuable, especially when combined with other dramatic errors. Die cracks and die breaks are another category of mistakes that add intrigue. Over time, the pressure of striking thousands of coins causes cracks to form in the dies, and when those cracked dies strike coins, they leave raised lines or extra metal on the finished coins, sometimes creating spectacular shapes that collectors nickname cuds or die breaks. And on a 1991 D penny, such an error can transform the coin into a conversation piece worth thousands, with the most dramatic examples pushing towards six figures when pristine. Now, the role of condition cannot be overstated, because even with a dramatic error, a heavily circulated 1991 D penny will never fetch the same price as one in mint state condition. Coins graded MS65, MS66, or higher, with brilliant red luster and virtually no wear, are the ones that command the highest premiums, and when you combine that top-tier grade with a rare error, you get the recipe for a coin valued at $200,000 or more. Auction records prove this time and again, as bidders compete furiously for coins that are the finest known example of their type, and collectors love the prestige of owning a coin that stands alone in rarity. What also makes the 1991 D penny so fascinating is that it represents a period in coinage history when quality control was being modernized, yet mistakes still slip through, and those mistakes tell a story not only of minting technology but also of human error and the reality that even in highly controlled environments, perfection is impossible. These imperfections are what fuel the thrill of coin collecting, because they remind us that hidden gems are still out there waiting to be discovered. Consider the excitement of someone sifting through rolls of pennies bought from a bank, or checking change received at a grocery store, only to find a coin with doubling on the date, or a wildly off-center strike, realizing that this humble penny could be worth a new car or even a house. That sense of possibility is what keeps collectors and treasure hunters searching day after day, hoping for their own moment of discovery. And it is not just about the money. Though $200,000 is life-changing, it's about holding in your hand a piece of history that almost shouldn't exist, a coin that by all rights should have been caught and destroyed by mint inspectors, but somehow slipped through and made its way into circulation, becoming a living piece of American minting history. And when such a coin surfaces at a major auction, the buzz spreads through the coin community like wildfire, driving collectors to bid higher and higher until the price reaches levels that seem unbelievable to outsiders, yet completely justified to those who understand the true rarity and significance of the piece. The 1991 D penny worth $200,000 is more than just a coin. It is a testament to the unpredictability of life, the thrill of discovery, and the passion that drives collectors to spend fortunes in pursuit of unique treasures. And it reminds us all to never overlook even the smallest and most ordinary objects, because sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight. So the next time you come across a 1991 D penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, grab a magnifying glass, inspect the date, the mint mark, the design elements, the weight, and the surface, and ask yourself if perhaps you might be holding not just a piece of everyday currency but a six-figure miracle that connects you directly to the rich and complex history of the United States Mint. And that is why coin collecting remains one of the most rewarding and exciting hobbies in the world, because as stories like this show, the possibilities are endless, and anyone, anywhere, can stumble upon a coin that turns out to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, a true treasure born out of error, chance, and history, a treasure like the 1991 D penny worth $200,000. Next, 1990 61-cent USA coin, another deep dive into the world of coin collecting, rare finds, and extraordinary stories hidden behind ordinary-looking coins. And today our focus is on the 1996 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, which under normal circumstances is one of the most common pennies produced by the United States Mint, but in the world of numismatics, certain examples have been documented to carry extraordinary mistakes and minting errors that transform their value from just 1 cent into the staggering figure of $150,000. And this is what makes coin collecting so endlessly fascinating, because while billions of 1996 pennies rolled off the presses at the Denver Mint, only a handful of them bear the combination of mistakes, anomalies, and pristine conditions that elevate them into the realm of legendary status. And to the untrained eye, these coins might look like nothing more than loose change, but to collectors and error specialists, the details hidden in the surfaces, edges, weights, and striking patterns can tell a story worth a fortune. So let's begin with an overview of the minting context, because in 1996 the penny was fully transitioned into its modern composition of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams and produced in overwhelming numbers to meet the demands of circulation. Yet despite the modernization of equipment and quality control measures at the Denver Mint, errors still occurred, and it is precisely those slips of machinery, misalignments, and planchet problems that create the types of coins that collectors pay astronomical sums to acquire. Now, one of the most significant categories of valuable error that can occur on a 1996 D penny is the double die error, which takes place during the process of hubbing a die when the design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles, creating the appearance of doubling on the coin. And in dramatic examples, this doubling can be seen clearly on the date 1996. The D mint mark the word Liberty, or the motto, In God We Trust, and such visible double dies are the holy grail for collectors, because they are both visually striking and extremely rare. When one of these double die coins surfaces in uncirculated mint state condition, free from heavy wear and with its red copper luster intact, its rarity and condition combine to drive values into the six-figure territory. And this is precisely how a 1996 D penny could reach the astounding valuation of $150,000. But doubling isn't the only kind of error that matters. because another dramatic mistake that raises value is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned in the press and the dies strike it off-center, creating a coin where part of the design is missing and part of the blank planchet is exposed. And while minor off-center strikes may only be worth a modest premium, those that are 50% off-center or more, especially when the date and mint mark remain fully visible, are treasured by collectors, because they are visually unique, easily identifiable, and indisputable mint errors that carry great appeal. A 1996 penny with such an extreme off-center strike in mint condition could certainly command tens of thousands, and when combined with other anomalies could break into six figures. Then there are broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails during striking and allows the coin to expand outward beyond its normal boundaries, creating an oversized, distorted penny without its usual raised rim. And these broad strikes are sought after by error collectors because they dramatically alter the shape of the coin, and when they happen to a penny from a high mintage year like 1996 yet survive in pristine condition, they stand out as unique rarities worth thousands or more. Planchet errors also play a huge role in adding value, because sometimes pennies are struck on planchets intended for other denominations, and imagine the shock of finding a 1996 penny struck on a dime planchet, which would be smaller in diameter, lighter in weight, and composed of a copper-nickel-clad material instead of copper-plated zinc, or struck on a foreign coin planchet that accidentally made its way into the presses. And these wrong planchet strikes are extremely valuable, because they produce one-of-a-kind coins, easily distinguished from ordinary cents. And when authenticated by professional grading services, they can bring 5 to 6-figure prices at auction. Clipped planchets are another category, where a section of the coin blank is missing before striking, leaving the finished coin with a curved or straight clip that collectors immediately recognize as a mint error, and dramatic clips or double clips increase desirability, particularly when the coin is otherwise well preserved. And then there are lamination errors, especially relevant for zinc-based pennies like those from 1996, where flaws in the copper plating or impurities in the metal cause pieces of the surface to peel, bubble, or flake off, leaving irregular patterns of exposed zinc beneath. And while some laminations are minor, dramatic and visually striking ones can push values much higher, especially if the coin is in mint state condition. Repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are another exciting possibility, because even in 1996 there were instances where the D mint mark could show signs of doubling or misalignment from multiple punches, and when the mint mark exhibits such distinct doubling or shadow-like impressions, collectors prize these coins as highly desirable varieties, adding another layer of rarity to a coin already special. Die cracks, die breaks, and cuts further enrich the story of the 1996 penny, because as dies wear out or crack under pressure, they leave raised lines, bulges, or extra metal on the finished coins, sometimes forming shapes that collectors nickname with colorful terms like spider cracks, or cuds, and dramatic die breaks that cover large sections of the coin are particularly prized, because they represent the very end of a die's life. And coins struck from such damaged dies are often extremely rare. When combined with strong luster and excellent preservation, a die break penny from 1996 could easily fetch thousands, feeding into the narrative of why one special example might climb all the way to $150,000. Now it's important to highlight how vital condition and grading are in determining value, because while errors create rarity, it is the state of preservation that separates a coin worth hundreds from one worth hundreds of thousands. Pennies graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at MS67 or higher with full red luster and minimal marks are the ones that bring the biggest money, and when a dramatic error or variety is preserved at that grade, it becomes the finest known example, and collectors with deep pockets will pay astronomical sums for the privilege of owning it. Because in the coin market rarity plus condition equals value, but the 1996 penny worth $150,000 is also more than just metal and mistakes. It represents the thrill of discovery and the possibility that even today, in a world where technology seems to catch every flaw, hidden treasures can still slip through. And that is why people all over America continue to hunt through rolls of pennies, search their pocket change, and study their coins under magnification, hoping to uncover a hidden gem, and the emotional side of coin collecting cannot be ignored because for many enthusiasts it's not just about the potential profit, but about the joy of holding a piece of history, a tangible artifact of human error, mechanical imperfection, and chance that connects them to the minting process. And when a coin like the 1990 60 penny appears at auction and reaches six figures, the excitement spreads across the community, sparking renewed enthusiasm and proving again that ordinary change can hide extraordinary value. So the next time you find a 1990 60 penny, take a moment to look closely, study the date, the mint mark, the edges, the weight, the alignment of the design, and the condition of the surfaces, because what looks like a plain copper-plated coin might just be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth $150,000. And that is why coin collecting remains one of the most rewarding hobbies in the world, blending history, chance, and the thrill of treasure hunting into every coin you hold. And as the story of the 1990 60 penny shows, the extraordinary value of these tiny artifacts lies not just in the metal they are made from, but in the mistakes, anomalies, and sheer improbability that they survived at all, reminding us that treasure can truly be found in the most unexpected places, even in the humble penny. Next, 1998 1-cent USA coin, another journey into the incredible and sometimes unbelievable world of rare coins and the hidden treasures that continue to amaze collectors and casual change checkers alike. And today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating case of the 1998 no mint mark United States Lincoln 1-cent coin that has reached the astonishing value of $100,000 because of the extraordinary mistakes and minting errors that make it one of the most desirable modern pennies in numismatic history. And while most people might glance at a 1998 penny and dismiss it as just another common coin worth a single cent, the truth is that a handful of these coins carry unique anomalies, striking varieties, and extremely rare characteristics that elevate them into legendary status. And the fact that these rarities exist at all is part of what keeps the world of coin collecting alive with passion and excitement, because even in an age of highly automated minting technology and rigorous quality control, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes are what turn ordinary coins into treasures that can change someone's life. So let's begin by understanding the background of the 1998 penny itself. By this time, the composition of the cent had been fully switched to the copper-plated zinc format that began in 1982. Consisting of a 97.5% zinc core with a 2.5% copper plating, giving the coin its traditional copper color but also making it vulnerable to unique types of errors like plating bubbles, peeling, or lamination flaws that were less common on the older solid bronze cents. The no mint mark designation means the coin came from the Philadelphia Mint, because the 1998 pennies struck there did not carry a mint mark under the date, and while billions of 1998 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, it is the tiniest percentage of those coins with unusual errors or varieties that carry the enormous valuations. One of the most famous and valuable categories of error for the 1998 no mint mark cent is the doubled die variety, where the design details appear doubled due to misalignment during the hubbing of the die, and in some cases this doubling can be dramatic and visible to the naked eye, particularly on the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," or the date itself, with letters and numbers showing distinct shadow-like outlines or even full duplicate impressions. And collectors go wild for these coins because they represent clear and undeniable minting mistakes that should never have escaped the mint, when combined with mint state red condition, meaning the coin retains its original copper luster without toning or wear. Such doubled die 1998 no mint mark pennies have the potential to reach six-figure values, and this is one major pathway by which a single cent could be worth $100,000. Another variety connected to the 1998 cent is the famous wide AM reverse design, which actually spans multiple years around 1998, 1999, and 2000. In this rare variety, the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse side is wider than it should be because the coin was struck with a reverse die intended for proof coinage rather than circulation coinage. This simple but dramatic mix-up of dies created one of the most collectible modern varieties in the Lincoln cent series, and the 1998 wide AM is among the most sought after. because it is visually distinct yet subtle enough that only attentive collectors recognize it. And while most examples fetch hundreds or thousands depending on condition, the finest known pieces graded in superb gem condition have the potential to climb to extraordinary values when collectors with deep pockets compete. And this is another path that leads the 1998 no-mint mark penny to reach the $100,000 mark. Off-center strikes are another spectacular error that could occur with 1998 pennies, when the blank planchet was not properly aligned with the dies at the moment of striking, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted to one side and a portion of the blank planchet remains visible. Collectors especially prize coins where the off-center strike is dramatic, often 50% or more, but the date remains visible, because the date is the key to identifying the rarity. And when you pair such an error with high-grade condition and strong eye appeal, you create a coin that becomes unique in the marketplace and capable of reaching life-changing values. Broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails and allows the coin to spread out wider than normal without its raised rim, also occur on 1998 cents and add to the range of valuable possibilities. Planchet errors are another category that cannot be overlooked, because sometimes pennies were struck on planchets intended for other denominations. For example, a 1998 penny struck on a dime planchet would be smaller in diameter, weigh less, and appear silver in color, instantly standing out as an unusual and valuable mint mistake. Similarly, a penny struck on a foreign coin planchet, which happened occasionally when blanks for coins of other countries were being produced alongside U.S. coinage, would create a spectacular rarity worth thousands or more. And in the rarest cases, such wrong planchet errors combined with pristine condition could command six-figure values. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the blank metal was cut off before striking, leave coins with distinctive curved or straight edges missing, and collectors are drawn to dramatic clips, especially when the clip intersects with the date or major design features. Lamination errors caused by problems in the copper plating or impurities in the zinc core are also particularly interesting for 1998 cents, because the plating can peel or flake, creating dramatic visual differences that make the coin unique. And certain dramatic lamination errors in mint state can be worth a small fortune. Die cracks and cuds formed when the striking dies break down under pressure are another type of collectible error, producing raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin. And dramatic cuds, where a section of the design is replaced by a large blob of raised metal, are especially prized, because they are so rare and striking. But beyond the technical errors and varieties, the factor of condition is what transforms rarity into record-breaking value. Because while a 1998 wide AM or double die penny might be worth hundreds or thousands in circulated condition, the same coin in flawless mint state red graded MS67, MS68, or higher by top grading services like PCGS or NGC could leap into the six-figure range, because collectors crave not only rarity but also perfection, and the combination of a rare variety in the highest possible grade is the ultimate prize. Which explains how a 1998 no-mint mark penny can be worth $100,000. The psychological appeal of these coins is also critical, because for many collectors, owning such a coin is not only about the monetary value but also about the thrill of possessing something virtually no one else has, a tangible piece of minting history that slipped through the cracks and survived against all odds. And when such coins surface at major auctions, bidding wars between passionate collectors often drive the price to levels far beyond what anyone might have predicted, pushing rare pennies into the realm of luxury collectibles alongside fine art, rare stamps, and historic artifacts. And the beauty of this story is that such treasures are still hiding in plain sight, because countless 1998 pennies are still in circulation today, rattling around in pockets, drawers, and jars of change, meaning that anyone with a sharp eye and some patience could stumble across one of these rarities without ever expecting it. And the possibility that a coin worth $100,000 might be sitting unnoticed in someone's piggy bank is what fuels the excitement of the coin hunting community, keeping people checking their change every day. And it is not just about money but about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the magic of finding value where others see nothing. So the next time you encounter a 1998 penny without a mint mark, take a close look with a magnifying glass. Check the spacing of the letters in America. Look for signs of doubling on the inscriptions, examine the surfaces for off-center strikes, lamination errors, or unusual weight and size that might suggest the wrong planchet, because you never know, that humble coin could be the one in a billion piece worth $100,000, and stories like this are what make numismatics such a captivating and rewarding pursuit, blending history, chance, error, and treasure into one tiny coin that carries enormous significance, reminding us all that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. Next, 2002 1-cent USA coin, this incredible exploration into the world of rare coins, where even the most ordinary-looking pieces of pocket change can turn out to be life-changing treasures. And today our focus is on the 2002 no-mint mark United States 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that under normal circumstances would seem to be nothing more than a standard copper-plated zinc cent worth a single cent. But because of its rare minting mistakes, dramatic errors, and extraordinary survival in pristine condition, certain examples have achieved values as high as $50,000. And while it may sound impossible that something so small and common could reach such a staggering price, the world of numismatics is full of surprises, and the 2002 no-mint mark penny is a perfect case study of how era coins and varieties can transform into extraordinary collectibles. So let us begin by remembering that by 2002, the Lincoln cent had long since transitioned into its modern composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating of 2.5%, and while this composition was meant to be efficient and cost-effective for the mint, it also made the coins more prone to certain types of flaws, such as plating bubbles, peeling, and lamination errors, and because pennies from the Philadelphia Mint in 2002 carry no mint mark, the no mint mark designation is simply the standard for coins struck there, yet hidden among the billions of ordinary 2002 pennies. A tiny handful carry extraordinary errors that make them among the most sought-after rarities of the modern series. So what kinds of mistakes could possibly propel a 2002 penny into the $50,000 range? The first and most famous error to consider is the doubled die, a variety that occurs when the hubbing process for creating the dies results in doubled impressions. And dramatic doubled dies can produce a coin where inscriptions like "Liberty in God We Trust," or even the date 2002 shows shadow-like doubling or doubled outlines that are visible even without magnification. These double die errors are legendary among collectors, and when found in later years like 2002, they are especially valuable because fewer dramatic doubled dies are known from modern minting, so the discovery of such a variety excites the collecting community and can push values into the tens of thousands. Especially when the coin is in mint state red condition with its brilliant luster intact. Another highly collectible and valuable error for 2002 pennies is the off-center strike, which happens when the blank planchet is not properly seated between the dies and ends up being struck off-center, producing a coin where part of the design is missing and part of the blank metal shows through, and collectors particularly prize examples where the strike is dramatic, say 50% or more off-center, but still leaves the date visible, because the date confirms the identity of the coin, and in such a case, especially if the coin has survived in uncirculated condition, values can climb well into 5 figures. Then there are broad strike errors, which occur when the collar die that normally keeps the coin confined during striking fails, allowing the planchet to spread outward, creating a flattened, oversized coin without a proper rim, and these errors are immediately recognizable and often highly desirable. And when they appear on a coin like the 2002 no mint mark cent in gem condition, they can significantly increase its value. Wrong planchet errors are another spectacular category, because sometimes pennies were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as a dime, or even a foreign coin. Imagine the shock of finding a 2002 penny struck on a dime planchet, which would be smaller, lighter, and silver in color instead of copper. Or even a penny struck on a foreign planchet with unusual size or composition. These are one-of-a-kind mistakes, and when authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC, they can easily reach the $50,000 mark at auction. Clipped planchets are another kind of error where the blank metal disc was improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight section missing, and dramatic double or triple clips are particularly prized, especially when the missing section intersects with the date or major design details. lamination errors, caused by flaws in the copper plating or impurities in the zinc core, are particularly relevant for 2002 cents. Because the plating sometimes bubbles, cracks, or peels away, creating dramatic and visually striking coins that collectors love, and in extreme cases, where much of the copper surface has peeled off to reveal the silver-colored zinc beneath, the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind rarity that can command high premiums. Die cracks and cuds are yet another category of valuable errors, as the dies that strike the coins sometimes crack or break under pressure, producing raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin, and large die breaks that obliterate parts of the design, known as cuds, are extremely collectible, because they show the failure of minting equipment in dramatic form. Now, condition plays an enormous role in determining the final value of any error coin, because while an error can make a coin rare, its grade and level of preservation determine whether it is worth hundreds or tens of thousands. Coins that survive in mint state red condition, with full luster, sharp details, and minimal marks, are the ones that bring top dollar, and in the case of a rare 2002 era penny, being the finest known example in a high grade like MS-67 or MS-68 can elevate its price into the $50,000 range. The psychological appeal of such a coin cannot be overlooked either, because collectors are not only paying for the metal, or even the mistake itself, but also for the story, the history, and the bragging rights of owning something so rare that almost no one else has it, and this is what creates bidding wars at major auctions, where passionate collectors drive prices higher and higher in their determination to claim ownership of a unique piece of minting history. Consider also how errors like the 2002 penny remind us that even in modern times, with advanced technology and quality control, perfection is impossible, and the existence of such errors keeps the hobby alive with excitement, because it means that treasures could still be waiting to be found in everyday change, tucked away in jars, or hiding in rolls of pennies from the bank, and that possibility is what fuels the thrill of coin hunting. So when someone stumbles across a 2002 penny with a dramatic error, they are not just holding a coin, they are holding a piece of history and potentially a life-changing discovery, because what looks like a single cent could in reality be worth as much as a luxury car or even a small house. And that sense of hidden potential is why collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people continue to search, study, and dream. The story of the 2002 no-mint mark penny worth $50,000 is also a reminder that the rarest treasures often come from the most unexpected places, and that is why every coin deserves a second look, because the tiniest details, a doubled inscription, an off-center strike, a plating bubble, or a missing clip, could mean the difference between 1 cent and $50,000, and that is the magic of numismatics, where history, error, chance, and discovery all come together in the palm of your hand, making even the smallest coin a window into a much larger story of value, rarity, and human fascination.